Love, money, and the future. Here we are live from Toronto, the great diverse city in Ontario, Canada. And I have a whole slew of people who've been asking questions about their numerology. So I'm going to get right to it. And we've also had people from all over the world asking about their numerology. We have people from India, Canada, Chile, Ecuador, United States, Italy, Scotland, Paraguay, Uruguay, all over the world. So let's get right to it. As I said, we're going to start with, I hope I say the name properly. Not all the names are easy for me to say because I don't know the people. Pratibha. Pratibha's asking about career and marriage and life in general. And for this, I'm looking at the cycle of their life. This is a time of change, Pratibha, so this is not a time to be making permanent commitments to anything. Change is a wonderful thing. It's like a season. You know, you wake up one morning and see the leaves change, or there's a good wind in the air, or the air smells like rain. This is change. These are natural, organic changes. The cycle and season of your life is very similar. There are organic changes. The winds blow. And while the winds are blowing, it's not a good time to make a permanent decision because things will move. And when you make a permanent commitment during that time, you end up being disappointed. So the best thing to do is be very, very flexible. Think through things very carefully, but again, don't make any permanent commitment right now. Tarun is sending in a question. Tarun is saying that he's not getting the results that he wants. Now, before I look at the numerology, let me just say one thing about what that could mean. Sometimes the result that we want is not the result that's best. Now, I know that's common sense, but sometimes that's easy to forget. I know a man, for example, I just spoke to him yesterday, and he was searching and searching and searching for a place to live. In the meantime, somebody offered him a place to live that was almost free, but not permanent. And he said, well, I took what I didn't want. I took this free place because it was available, and that way I didn't have to worry about things right now. Well, in his world, he's terribly unhappy because he didn't get what he wanted. He was looking for the perfect spot. In my world, he got exactly what he was supposed to get. Something free for a few months until he found what he was looking for. So what you think you want and then you don't get makes you unhappy, as opposed to looking at the bigger picture and seeing that what you want is not always what's best, and what's best is always what you are directing yourself to. That's what's really happening in your life. So I encourage you, Tarun, to be patient, because while you may not be getting the result that you want, perhaps the result that you want is not the result that you should have. All right, end of lecture. Let me just get right down to the birthday. And according to your birthday, you're right, after all that. There is a shift happening in your life, and it's this year, even for the last 2 months of this year. It's true, over the last few years, things have not been moving in the direction that you would have liked. But here it is. You've got a brand new landscape. You are now able to move forward in your life, but it can only work if you think ahead at least a decade. Sometimes we get caught up in the immediate. You know, there's an old expression, be here now. That's not always a good idea. You want to be here now so you don't trip over yourself. But in your case, you want to be here now thinking about 10 years from now. And I think if you set a plan in your mind, not just what you want, but a plan, I think you'll get what you want. And I would keep in mind that what you want may not be what's best for you. So as you make your plan, make sure that it is sensible. Dibash, also from India, is asking about love, life, and success, and when to get that together. Okay, all right, not now. The exact opposite of the previous person. There are times to move forward and times to chill out. This is the time for you to take a little bit of a break before you start moving forward in your life. Again, think of the seasons. There are times when the weather is just perfect. There are too many rains. The rain is too heavy for you to take a long trip, and times when everything's just right. So why would you do it the hard way? Your process in life right now is to clean up, pay things off, adjust everything in your life so that you can move forward next year. Next year for you begins January 1. And then again on your birthday and then again on September 22nd of next year. So 2012 is what you've been waiting for. Take advantage of it. Loretta is writing in. She sent us an email, and Loretta's contacting us from Canada. And she's asking specifically about herself and her family and her love. Well, let's take a quick look at that. Loretta, this is a good time for you. This is a very creative time for you, so I can understand why you're asking a lot. But since 2012 is creeping up on us, I would encourage you to be very thoughtful about work. You need to get super duper organized, uber organized, and you want that to start February of next year. So you can play for 3 more months, and then you've got to get down to work. Work, 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 work. Now you may complain and say, but I'm always working. No. Next year is when you really have to work. Work and get organized and get a structure around yourself. Then you will feel strong. You'll feel like you have a good base in your life. Right now, you're working through a lot of memories. You're asking a little bit about your father. I can't say too much about your father because he's not asking, you are. But let me talk about that relationship. This is a year to inspire your father, and you're so creative right now, that's a good thing for you to do. Next year, it's time for his creativity, so pay attention to that. Your mother? Your mother, it's all about family for her. It's all that matters. Whether she's good at it or bad at it doesn't matter. That's all that, for her, the white picket fence is the whole reality of life. So just accept that and deal with it and satisfy her. When I say satisfy her, I'm not talking about codependency. I'm not trying to make her happy. I'm just saying understand her world. That's what her world is composed of. Responsibility, certain ideals, whether or not you agree with those values doesn't matter. That's her perception of life, and she's not going to change on that one. And of course, anything to do with family, she's just in love with the family. Now you're asking about a significant other. What a good time for him. What a fantastic time right now. And if he's complaining, kick him out the door. Because his life is so fantastic right now that he should just be walking around singing like Gene Kelly's Singing in the Rain, dancing and whistling. And if he's not, something's wrong with this guy. You want to dump him right away. If he is singing and dancing in the rain, then you keep this guy for a while. Okay, we have someone contacting us from Chile. Her name is Sidi Huddy, and she's asking a little bit about the spice of life and the talents in her life. Well, that's a wonderful question. That's a fun question to look at. But unfortunately, it's not what you want to hear because the spice of life doesn't happen until next year. Right now, it's all about being organized. Again, we're talking about the seasons and cycles of life. So there are times to get organized and times to let things go. Times to move forward, time to take a little step back. And for you, right now, the year's not over. It's still a time of organization and structure and work. Whereas next year, there's lots of opportunity for spicing things up in your life. And your talent is really as a communicator. There's no question about that. So get good at it. If you're good at it, make yourself better. If you're not so good at it, well, for heaven's sake, get to work on it. You need to do that. Learn numerology. Maria from Ecuador. Hope you speak English, Maria, because I'm going to answer this question in English. Maria is looking at an educational program that she took in order to add to her career and is now concerned that she might not be able to make enough money at it. You're right. You're not going to be able to make enough money at it at the beginning, so don't give up your day job. You want to be able to do both things at the same time for a little while until it starts to kick in a little bit more. You need a little bit more experience before you make that full time. Now again, I hope I'm saying this name correctly. Priyanshu from India is asking when he's going to get married. Well, I can't predict that exactly, but let's look at some good times. Your life is going to be significantly different next year and for the 3 years that follow it. So if I were you, I would not even consider the idea, the very idea of the idea of the idea of something as important as getting married or having that type of significant relationship in your life until 2012 is completely over. So between now and then, just keep a very open mind and enjoy yourself, because you're going to be waking up in your life. And this is a wonderful opportunity for you. You don't want to be distracted by old commitments when you're in that situation. Trust me on this one. Things are changing for you, and it's all positive. Sometimes an earthquake can be very positive. James is asking about health, wealth, and the future. All right, let's get to it then. Health, wealth, and the future. Wealth is not an issue for you. You will always have it. You'll always have more than you need. That will never change for you. Health. I can't answer a health or medical related question on the air. That's not ethical, nor is it legal. But I can tell you this, you have a certain amount of charisma, and you should use it. Sometimes that's very helpful in your own health and healing. If you don't use it, it works against you. You also want to know about your future. So I'll look at the cycle of your life. Like some of the previous people, it seems we have a theme going here. Next year is all about work, so you've got to get organized. And sometimes work means working harder, sometimes it means working smarter. In your case, it's a little bit of both. We have a young woman from Italy contacting us and wants to know about when she should get married. She's given me the birthday of herself and her partner and is saying, what's a good day for us? We've chosen a date. Is that a good idea for us? Well, let me do a quick calculation on that. You could choose a different date. If you're already locked into this one, fine. If not, I would suggest a different date. It's not a big deal. What matters is what you do right before the marriage and what you do right after the marriage. You need to spend at least 120 days, in other words, 4 months, preparing for this marriage together. Now, I see from your information here that you are a person who does yoga and this type of thing. I would highly recommend that you do something together with your mate on a regular basis, daily if possible, for 4 months before the marriage, and then at least for 6 weeks to 4 months after the marriage. This is not something where you just step up and go, woo, we're married. This is something where you need a little bit of preparation time, then seal the deal, and then some post-preparation time. Your life in this marriage needs preparation and post-preparation. Everything is moving in steps for you, more important than the date itself. Again, I hope I'm saying this correctly. Kirinbi. I'm not sure if I've said that name properly. I'm sorry. But you're asking about your financial situation, about your daughters and your ex-husband, but you're not sending me the birthdays of all these people. So I can only address you and give you a general readout. If you want to know about somebody else, here are the rules. I need their birthday. Make sure the birthday's accurate. Don't guess at it. And remember, I'm not going to speak about them at length because unless they're asking, it's none of your business. But I can give you a sense of some compatibility or how to better get along with somebody or how they may interact with the map of your life. Now for you, yeah. There is a cycle in numerology, there is a calendar in numerology, where it's likely that there is a change in the home. Perhaps, for example, in your case, buying one. The good news is, yay, you bought a home. The bad news is, in this cycle, you never have more money than you need. Now, I want to say that again, more money than you need. So you can be unhappy and say, I want more money, or you can say, whew, I have all the money I need. That's the key. So I'm telling you now, you have the money you need, and you will have the money you need, but you won't have more for a little while. So do not complain about that. There are times to build, and there are times to just clean. So this is not the time for you to be thinking about why don't I have more, why don't I have more. You have what you need, and you will have what you need. If you need 32 cents, you'll find 32 cents. If you need $400, you'll get exactly $400. If you want 500, you're still going to get 400, so you're covered. It's not the time to be building your financial reservoir. That's not the key right now. Let things unfold a little bit more before that happens. And yes, you're asking more financial questions about should I rent it and rent it out and move on. You need a financial advisor for this one. These are very common sense questions. This is not very complicated. You need to follow the money trail. If you don't have enough for this and you have an opportunity to do something else that covers you, well, there's your answer. You have what you need. That's it. Don't try for more right now. But work to cover that. And it's always fun to increase the need. That way you get more money. That's for this cycle. That doesn't apply to everybody all the time. That's your cycle at this time. Subhash is asking in general about life. And Subhash, what a studious time for you. What a time to study and learn and grow. Once again, looking at the cycles of life, there are times to go inside and times to go outside. Right now, it's inside. Study and learn. Whatever it is, whatever your relationships are, whatever your work situation is, whatever's around you, you need to study, learn, grow. I don't like to encourage people to be self-centered. In your case, be self-centered for a little while. All right, we have another question from someone who has almost the same birthday. Aganisa, I hope I've said that properly again, Aganisa. What a good heart you have. What a good heart. And yet what you say doesn't always support that heart. Sometimes you say things that just do not connect with who you really are. Please be more thoughtful in what you say and how you say it, and be complete in what you say. Don't go halfway with things. Jay is asking, Jay is from India, and he's asking about, it seems there's an element of almost supernatural. You know, you get that feeling sometimes that things just aren't working out, that what's working against me? Am I cursed? What's ruining my life? There are a lot of ways to look at that. But I can assure you it's not a supernatural force. You're not being haunted here, nor is your life being ruined. And I think that next year in 2012, you're going to realize what's really in your way. I wouldn't try to make any changes until after February. But when you do, those changes will unfold and unveil the real problems in your life. Sometimes, I'll give you an example, sometimes people feel they're haunted because they have carbon monoxide poisoning. I know that sounds funny, but there are some people who see things in their homes and it's legitimate. They have a sense of energy. And some people, they see things and hear things and feel things, and their furnace isn't working properly, and they're basically inhaling poison all day long and all night long, sleeping with it. There are people who have a glandular problem that they don't realize because it's a low-level glandular problem, and the next thing you know, they're not functioning well. There are people who can't sleep, and then during the day, they don't function well. I'm not saying this is the case with you. I'm just saying that sometimes when we look to the outside for what's wrong, it's really something that is environmental. You're right, there's something outside. But it's not a force, it's an environmental element. It's not the case for you. It's not environmental, it's more personality. Yours and other people's. You're going to clean up next year. Start tomorrow, but go very slowly. Abby is asking about a relationship, but Abby, you didn't give us the other birthday, so I can't comment on that. If you want to ask about a relationship, my pleasure, that's what we do here, but you have to give the other person's birthday. And while we're talking about birthdays, I want to say a little something about numerology. I've been doing this for about 40 years now, so I know what I'm talking about. And I've been working with people over the years, teaching them and training them to learn this system. This is the oldest system known to humankind. It is the original counseling, and I believe it's the future of counseling. We're having fun with it here. We're doing this for entertainment purposes on air. But the reality is that yogic numerology teaches you how to heal, how to counsel, and how to understand and suggest changes with technique for somebody to achieve their potential in life, for yourself, and for other people. So if you're as fascinated by this as I am, why not become a master like me and learn it properly? Become an expert. It's good experience, it's a lot of fun, and we take you step by step through the process through an online video program. It's called The Numerology Professor. You can find it right here on yogiakal.tv. If you're already involved in a career where you're helpful to people, this is a good adjunct. Put this in your toolbox and use it to help others. Or perhaps you'd like to become a numerologist and use this as a full-time work. Whether you're doing it for your own curiosity and enhancement, or to build your career or to develop a new career, I highly recommend it. This is the only place on the planet where you can learn this system and in this depth. Right here on yogiakal.tv, The Numerology Professor. Sometimes people are asking, how do I contact you, Yogi? Can I get a private session with you? I don't do very many of them, but I am available. You can get more information by sending an email right here through yogiakal.tv, and we can try and squeeze you in. But we are doing a new service right here, free, Love Money in the Future. Contact us through the form here on yogiakal.tv, fill it out in detail, and when we get to you on air, you'll get your answer. If you need something a little bit more immediate, we have something called one-on-one. This is a video reading, much like this, but a little longer. It's 3 to 5 minutes, very personal and private, sent to your email. If you'd like more information on that, it's only $49, and I'll be happy to make that available to you. Let's go back to our list of people for today. Suparmanyam. Again, I'm so sorry if I didn't say that properly. This gentleman is contacting us from India, and he wants to know more about his life in general. This is a time of victory for you. Victory. Now you have a choice. You can win by surrender, or you can win by achievement. Surrender's not your way. You had a chance to do that. Whatever you got rid of, whatever you lost or won before September, it's done. Time to start building your future. Don't look back anymore. Just look forward. Christopher is contacting us from Scotland, and Christopher wants to know about how to deal with people who put him down. In other words, people who are sabotaging him, or he believes that they're sabotaging him in some way. This is not going to go away for you, Christopher. In your life, it's something to learn to deal with. There are always going to be people criticizing you unfairly. That's not going to go away. So the question is, how do you maintain your fighting spirit? How do you grow that heart and that leadership, that strength of personality to overcome that and not react back? That's the lesson for you. You picked this life. You sat down and you said, this is what I want. And the gods all gathered round and said, okay, that's what you want, but this is also what you have to learn. So we're putting our 2 cents worth in. So you got what you wanted, and they got what they wanted. And that's just a story for you, of course. What you want is to be excellent. What is best for you is to be excellent in the midst of challenge. So you're asking how to deal with it. If you look on yogiakal.tv or on YouTube, yogiakal.tv, you will see that there are lots of videos, lots of meditation videos, very simple, easy techniques, some that only take a few seconds, that help you to be stronger and deal with other people's negativity and your own. You have to use these techniques. If you don't use them, you end up reacting, and then they're right. They wear you down. There's no reason for that. You are excellent in your life, and you should maintain that and learn to deal with it. Like any good politician, like any good prize fighter, like any good team captain. Marilyn is asking, what will be my future? Okay, I cannot predict the future exactly. That's just not what we do. But I can give you the trend and pattern of your life. When we say love money in the future, we're talking about the cycles that are yet to come. We're talking about a process that's unfolding in your life. So let me give you what that process is. Next year, stand still. Let me give you an example of the weather. There are weather systems where it's sunny and balmy and you really ought to soak in the sun and play volleyball. There are weather systems that are stormy. Go with it, there's lots of wind. There are weather systems where it's foggy. Best not to move around too much, you might crash somewhere. Stay indoors. Weather systems with lots of rain, good for the plants, but maybe uncomfortable. And there are weather systems where you should just stand still. Soak it in. That's next year. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear. You'd like to hear, oh boy, what are all my opportunities? Look, there are lots of opportunities in your life, tons of opportunities in your life. But next year, stand still. Watch what's happening all around you. The year after, don't stand still anymore. Go running. Shweta. Shweta wants to get information on a relationship, but again hasn't submitted the other birthday, so I can only comment very briefly on herself. If you want to marry, I would do it fast or wait a year. Chetna is also contacting us again from India. Quite a few people from India today. Wants to know about her future and her career. This has been a spectacular year. And if you're not taking advantage of it, you still have 2 more months to go get more money. Because that's what you should be doing right now. If you have a job, ask for promotion. If you don't have a job, go get one. Because I know you're very young, but you should be working. If you're going to school, do a little extra to make some money on the side. And you should manage your money immediately. Even if you only have a little tiny bit, you should manage it. This is important. The faster you learn this, the more you practice this, the more effective you will be forever in your life. And be prepared for changes, because your life never stands still. Parash is writing from the United States, and he wants to have a general idea of love, life, and happiness. Well, we'll do something very quickly just to say that you have all those things. According to your birthday, you're charmed. You have love, you have life, you have happiness. What else could you want? Big changes happening in about a year or two. For a short period of time, you're going to feel a little bit pressured. And then in about 2 years, you're going to feel fresh as if you are reborn. I'm not talking about a religious experience. It could be. But that's not what I'm discussing. What I'm discussing is that there is a clearing. Your eyes will literally open up. There'll be a new horizon in your life. It happens. And when that happens, it's an opportunity. A window opens, a door opens, you walk through it, and everything is new. Up until then, it's still a little bit of pressure. You're at the very end of that old process, ready to begin something new. Please go step by step on that. Don't rush the process. Someone whose initials are KN is just asking generally about their life. I would say that this would be a newborn, and I'm imagining they didn't type it in. The birth year is 2011, so I'm guessing this is a baby. And that's a wonderful thing to ask for a baby. It's a really good idea to get a readout in advance so you know some of the things to do to help that person along. And in this case, this is a child who sees right through you. So you have to be very clear every time you're around them. They see right through you. Last but not least, for the time that we have today, Dharmakar is back, and Dharmakar is asking a very interesting question. She's asking about the New Age. You may have heard a lot of talk about that. If you're from the 60s, you can remember the Aquarian Age, the age of Aquarius. Well, in astrology, there's an age of Aquarius that has just begun. In yoga, it's called the New Age. It's not just a New Age movement of people. It is a shift in everything on the earth. The vibratory pattern of the earth, the magnetic field of the earth is changing. You can tell yourself there's so many changes happening in this beginning of the 21st century. But there's some controversy as to when this age or this changing age actually begins. So here's the answer. The beginning of it was 1987. The focal point for it, it's like the eye of the storm, is right now, 2011. And the full ushering in other words, when will this be completely different? When will this new age be here in its entirety? That's 2038. So in 2038, 10 years after China wakes up, which will happen in 2028, the world will be different. Now, of course, the world's always changing. But this is one of the biggest changes we've ever seen, bigger than the Renaissance. Because this is not only a change in our thinking and in our consciousness and in the climate of the earth, all of which will happen in the next 30 years, but it's a change in all consciousness. It's a wonderful thing. Sometimes a little painful to go through because it changes everything. You know, we don't always like change, not everything, but it is. It will happen politically, economically, environmentally. And isn't that wonderful? All religions have predicted a change at around this time, and they're all right. But it's not going to be something that falls from heaven. This is going to be in the consciousness of each person one by one, and a waking up. It will happen very quickly. It's a groundswell that's already begun. 1987 was the beginning of it in the heavens, so to speak. 2011 is where it is now. This is the eye of the storm. And 2038 is when it officially arrives. That's the date. You can put it on your calendar. So for those who were thinking you're going to disappear in 2012, I'm so sorry. You have 27 more years before you have to worry about that. And in 2038, we will still be here. We will just be in much better shape. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Love, Money, and the Future. See you next week live right here on yogiakal.tv. Have a great numerological week.